Ayanna Crawford Show, Inside Excellence. We're here in Springfield, Massachusetts, live at Springfield Focus TV. And I'm so honored to have a wonderful guest on our show today. We have Michael Connolly, who is known as Mr. Stinky Cakes. Mr. Stinky Cake, as he was started as an immigrant dishwasher, was named one of America's top 100 urban entrepreneurs for his work as a co-founder of the online baby gift company Stinky Cakes. He also has been named one of top 40 and under in Massachusetts by Business West. He has been featured in Boston Herald and in the Black Entrepreneur Enterprise Inc. magazine. He speaks about the power of changing lives through entrepreneurship on NPR and CBS radio, as well as an affiliate ABC and NBC television stations. He is a contributing writer for entrepreneurial websites under30ceo.com and virgin.com. Connolly currently serves on the board and spokesperson for Junior Achievement, Western Massachusetts. He lives in Springfield, Massachusetts with his wife and 2 sons. Let's welcome Mr. Connolly to the Ayanna Crawford Show, Inside Excellence, where we will showcase and bring to you everyday people in Springfield doing wonderful things. How are you today?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. And this is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we've been wanting you to be on our show. We did a little sneak peek, if you will, about the book that you wrote about Stinky Cakes, and we had that kind of on our show, the last segment that we did about business for business women. So we're so honored to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And entrepreneurship is an amazing thing because it levels the playing field. You know, a lot of people, start off working for someone and they realize real fast that, maybe I want to do my own thing. And entrepreneurship can be such a simple thing because you just have to have a really good idea, not even a great idea, just a good idea, and be willing to put the work in. And that's normally where you separate the people that are entrepreneurs from people that are entrepreneurs, is in that work that you do.
As you talked a little bit about entrepreneurship, how many businesses did it take for you really to start that Stinky Cake online business? How many businesses did you have to kind of fail at, if you will?
That's a great question. You know, it's funny, my answer to that is different because I fell in love with entrepreneurship at the age of 5. And through reading and learning about entrepreneurs and people doing little silly things like Mike Kittredge from Yankee Candle and John Sortino from the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, Dave Klein, Jelly Belly, Jelly Beans, Famous Amos from Wally Amos from Famous Amos Cookies and the Ben and Jerry's guys. And as a kid, I was able to see, like, wow, these guys are taking basic things and they're making millions of dollars. I want to do that when I grow up. So what happened was when I was 9, I actually launched my first business. It was a candy company, and as I said, I started here as an immigrant dishwasher. I grew up in the Bahamas. And my grandmother, she had a whole bunch of candy. And
as all of our grandmothers do,
right? Right. So what I would do, I would take it to school and I would just give it away because in my mind, I have so much candy at home that I could just give this candy away to my friends at school. So I started doing that, and what ended up happening was so many people started asking me for candy that I just got annoyed, and I was like, you know what, I sell it. And I thought they would leave me alone if I said that. But what happened was the first few kids said, how much? So I was like, oh, I think I might have a business here. But that business did so well that in 2 years, my grandmother was able to leave her job and retire because she was making more money selling candy than she was at her job. And so to answer your question, my first business was a successful business, but I didn't I was 9. I thought all businesses work like that. I thought you just give people a product and you succeed. But when I started Stinky Cakes, it was after I couldn't get a job. So I had got married, and before I got married, I was already in the middle of getting my paperwork to be a naturalized citizen here. But it was after 9/11, and they changed the whole process, so everything I had, I kind of lost, and I had to like reapply, and it was kind of chaotic. So I had a gap in my employment while I was getting my paperwork back done. And what ended up happening was, I couldn't get a job, and I was really frustrated. And I was always really good at marketing. I love marketing. I love entrepreneurship and marketing. Marketing is one of my favorite topics in the world. So I was applying for all these jobs in marketing, and nothing was happening for me. You know, I was starting to get really depressed and down and out.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? Here's my idea. I'm gonna start a business, and I'll show people how good I am at marketing, and then
Right.
people will want me to hire me. This was my thinking, you know. So we had our second son, and my boys are 18 months apart. So when my second son was born, everybody wanted to give this kid everything but diapers. Now, keep in mind, my first son had got so much stuff. I mean, literally, we could open our own baby gift store. Like, we could open a Babies R Us, how much stuff this kid had.
Right, right.
So when my wife was pregnant with my second son, I was like, babe, all we really need is diapers. Like, we don't really need anything else. Can we get people to just give us diapers at this thing? And no one wanted to give us diapers, and we were just frustrated. So we were sitting at CVS on Boston Road, and I'm saying to my wife, if half of that stuff back home were diapers, we would not be sitting here buying diapers. So like the entrepreneurial part of me started thinking, like, how can I solve this problem? Because I know this is a problem.
Right.
To get, people giving diapers is a fun gift. And we did some brainstorming, came up with the whole stinky cakes concept. And the rest is history. Like, we literally solved the problem with that. And the problem was, in most great entrepreneurs, or good entrepreneur, I don't want to say great, but most good entrepreneurs, or most successful entrepreneurs, and great entrepreneurs, they always just solving a problem. So you look at Facebook, how can people communicate? You look at Apple with the iPhone, communication. How can we communicate? How can we have an internet phone, right? It's always basic things. So we just wanted to make diaper giving fun. Like, let's make this fun so people want to give diapers. And then Stinky Cake started. And it did well, so I didn't really have to go get a job. And then it was funny because the people that wouldn't give me marketing jobs started calling me and hiring me to do consulting with them because they wanted to solve some problems. It's kind of cool how it worked out, but it's funny because they would have got me a lot cheaper if they hired me versus having me come in as a consultant.
Wow, that's interesting. What an interesting story. I would have never guessed some of the things that you decided to do. And when we talk about, being from another country, coming to America and having to go through that process, being laid off or looking for a job and saying, you know what, I have some skills, I have some talents that I can give, and I can make something for myself to provide for my family. And really, that's what you did.
Well, see, that's the key. And anybody that asks me about being an entrepreneur, where to start, my first question is, what do you love doing? Like, what would you be doing right now if money wasn't an object, or it wasn't an issue, or what would you be doing?
Right.
Oh man, I love to paint. So why don't you get paid to paint? Oh, I don't know how to do it. Well, what do you paint? Oh, I love painting landscapes. So why don't you just start painting landscapes of the city, right?
Right.
Turn it into a calendar and sell like $80,000 worth of calendars, right? Because people in your city would want to buy the artist's paintings. They're not just gonna randomly buy your painting because they like you. Like, businesses, I like this person, let me give them $80,000. It doesn't work that way. Well, when it comes to investing, then that's another topic we could figure. But when you're looking to start a business, people will support you. They will buy your thing, but I almost kind of hate that word support because it almost seems so like handoutish. I hope someone please support my business. No, but if you create something that people want, they'll buy it.
So with that being said, what was your aha moment of your Stinky Cakes? What was it like, oh my God, Eureka, this really is gonna make sense. People are really gonna purchase this. They're really gonna buy it. Like, what made you think that this was gonna be a viable business?
Well, first of all, I knew it was a problem. I knew people, because anybody that ever met anyone that has a baby knows that person needs diapers.
Right.
But the problem is gift giving is a two-way street. The person that's given the gift wants to feel like special, and the person receiving the gift wants to feel special.
Right.
When you give someone a box of diapers, the person receiving the diapers they're very thankful.
Right.
But the person giving the box of diapers are like, here you go, there's a box of diapers. They don't get that same warm, fuzzy feeling. So we understood once we stopped, and that really was the problem we were solving. Making that diaper giving a two-way street. And but the aha moment or the Eureka moment was, my first customer was my mother-in-law. It's funny. So what happened was she heard what we wanted to do. She said, "Oh, that's great. I love that idea." And my brother-in-law, his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend was having a baby.
Right.
And So she said, I want one of those stinky things you said you're gonna do with the diaper. She, you know, and she took it to the baby shower. When she came back with 3 orders.
Wow, wow.
She's like, oh my, everyone was talking about it. They loved it. They was like, this is amazing, this great thing. And I was like, really? And I was like, yes. Because once, a part of marketing and branding is that you have to be excited about your thing. Because if it's your thing and you're not excited about it, your energy, whatever your energy is going to transfer onto everyone else.
Right.
So
Exactly.
if you're like, yeah, we kind of did this thing, that's what people gonna do. Well, they kind of liked it. I don't know.
Right.
But you're like, oh my goodness, look what we created. Da 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 da. Now, because you're teaching people how to behave when it comes to your product or service. So she came back with that same excitement with 3 orders, and then it just kind of grew from there. And the key to growing Stinky Cakes was to was really about being a disciplined buyer, because when we started that company, we had very little money.
Right, right.
And so instead of taking the money the revenue that we generated from the company and, you know, splurging, what we did was we reinvested in the company. We bought the Stinky Mobile, and we got the wrap, and was driving up and down the city, New York, and all over the place, Boston area.
Wow.
And then we started putting the money in the radio ads. And then, you know, we updated stinkycakes.com, and we literally for years never spent any of that money.
Wow, wow.
See, what happens is a lot of people start a business and they make, let's just say if you were working somewhere and you were making $500 to $800 a week, and then you have a business and you make $2,000 in a week. Now it's like, oh, we made it. No, you didn't make it.
The next segment that we're going to bring, we're going to talk about your book
Okay.
that you wrote. It's called Launch and Stand Out. I love the topic. I mean, it just makes so much sense. 23 ways to make money with a little elbow grease and ingenuity. 8 ways to get customers to know, like, trust, and remember and buy into your product.
Right.
The Stinky Cake Way. Launch and Stand Out. So let's talk a little bit about this book and your impetus in terms of why you wrote it.
Yeah, okay, so it's funny because when I wrote the book, it was more geared towards helping other people start businesses. And I love business and I love entrepreneurship and I respect it. So I hate when people see all of these things like, sign up to this thing and in 2 weeks you'll make $20,000, and people believe business works that way. You know, because like even for example, I have friends that have been on the show Shark Tank.
Yes.
And a lot of people think, well, since they were on Shark Tank, now they're mega millionaires. But it doesn't work that way. They got a lot of exposure, but there's still a process and a system that you have to use to capitalize on all this stuff.
Right.
So I believe when it comes to entrepreneurship, the Stinky Cakes way is just grinding it out and putting the work in. Like we worked so hard to make the needle move with that company.
Right.
And most successful entrepreneurs, that's what they do. They just work really hard. But most importantly, they work smart and they work right. See, because you could work hard on something for a long time and you never generate revenue. But you have to make sure you're working smart and working right. So with the book, what I did was I broke down 23 different business models. And it's really to get people thinking like, okay, oh, wow, that's the steps it takes to do that kind of thing. I'm not saying the 23 business models in there you want to go out and do, but I'm saying when you're done looking at these 23 business models, you understand how the inside of a business works. And then you could go, like I gave the calendar example, right?
Yes.
Like once you'll be able to think like that, oh, here's where I could sell that. Oh, here's how I should partner with this thing. Maybe I should do an affiliate thing, because every business model is different. So the reason I wrote that book is because I know for a fact 1 out of every 2 people either started a business or want to start a business. But 95% of businesses fail. And the reason that number is so high is because, not because these people aren't working hard,
Right. Sure.
but because a lot of times they're working hard on the wrong things. So once you understand the right things to work on, and you'll be able to gauge if it's working or not, you could measure your success. For example, if you set up a simple system, just to see if customers or people want your thing, right? So now, let's say you did a little test survey,
Sure.
and they go, oh, how many people would want X, Y, and Z? And people were like, I don't want that.
Right.
Then you know, oh, I might have thought that was cool. I'm not gonna spend 5 years doing this thing because people clearly telling me they don't want the thing, right? Steve Jobs, for example, was a genius because he was able to tell people what they wanted before they knew what they want. But in order to do that, you have to study your audience. So I tell a lot of people, you know, spend more time figuring out what it is that your target audience wants, and then give it to them. See, a lot of people remember the movie Field of Dreams.
Yes.
And in Field of Dreams, it says, if you build it, they will come. Right. That's the worst advice for an entrepreneur to take. What an entrepreneur wants to do is, when they come, build it. So they're already coming for the thing now, boom. Hey, you got to pay this thing to get what you want. This financial so they build up, here's this financial transaction now. Now you can go get the thing you want. And once you understand how to do that, then you can make money with your business.
There are some things in here that I was able to read because I've read it, a few. And there's a piece in there you talk about success don't lie. And you've got this kind of all throughout the book. They're like little vignettes or little poems or little inspirational things. One of the ones that I kind of thought was kind of, I took personal for myself, and it says, success don't lie. You win some, you lose some. Hold your head high and focus on the positive. It takes some people a while to realize a song's hit, and it may take a while for them to realize your business is a hit too. Whew, that was like a mouthful. It just pierced in my soul, and I'm like, wow. Because sometimes, like you were talking about, people having passions and really believing in what they want to do, but others might not see that. And so you've got to start feeling out what your passions are, what your gifts are, and just kind of go for it. And I think that's what you're trying to say here.
Well, yeah, because you got to understand, your dream is your dream.
Right.
Like,
right.
just like when you lay down at night and you have a dream, and it's like the most real thing ever, and you wake up and you tell your spouse or significant other, I had the best dream ever. You could describe their dream as much as possible, but only so much of that they could get.
Right.
But I use the hit song because even if you listen to the radio and the first time you hear a song, you're like, oh my God, this is a dumb song.
Right.
I can't stand it. And then, 2 months later, it's the #1 song on the Billboard chart, and everyone's buying that song. So if that artist or the team behind that song, when it first came out, and it was like, the people don't like it. Let's just not play the song ever again. It would never be a #1 hit. But what they do know too is, you know what? People like these type songs with this type message, with this kind of tune, and when this is a summertime hit, we're gonna bring it out right before summer, let them get used to it. So summertime happens, now they bump it in the car, they have to, and now they buying, so maybe they're not buying the CD, but guess what? We could license that happy song to Pepsi, and now Pepsi's paying us a royalty every time the song plays. See, and all this stuff goes back down to understanding business and understanding where your money is. So if that artist thought, well, people are just going to download my demo, download my thing off of iTunes, right? They mightn't do that. But you can get paid different ways. So you have to understand the business and understand why people are going to like this song. Because this song might be something special to you, right? But no one else will want it. But if you understand the consumer's behavior, and then, the consumers typically like these type songs. So you know what? Chances are they're going to like my song because it's like that. It's matching.
You really kind of outline different types of businesses people could really have. You give them kind of the blueprint, if you will, in terms of processing them, going out and establishing those small businesses. It's a great read. You give a lot of great tips about customers, about loyalty. It's just a great book. I want to go to another quick chapter that you talked about here. And you talked about, now this is something that I thought I wanted to do a long time ago when I was young and, launching a wedding planning business or a bridal consultation. I've been to tons of weddings. I've been in weddings. I was part of my sister's weddings. And it's always this kind of thought, okay, well, how do you start being a wedding consultant? What does that look like? And you literally break it down, make it very tangible and very easy to read, and as if anybody, no matter who you are, no matter what your educational background is, that you could start this business. You could even be someone that's 15 years old in high school.
This is true.
You make it that easy. So my question to you, how is it that if entrepreneurship is so easy, if you have a passion and an idea, why isn't everybody doing it?
Well, you know what, I wrote in one of my articles I wrote for Virgin.com, I talked about, startups and how to succeed as a startup. And in that article I said, you know, being an entrepreneur it's simple, but it's not easy. So it's simple to do. Anyone can do it. You have 13, 14-year-olds making six figures with being a babysitter. I just read an article on NBC about that. But it's simple to do because it's just step one, step two, step three. It's not easy because you actually have to do step one, step two, step three. See, success is boring. It's really boring and it's tedious and it's repetitive and you have to be persistent, right? And you have to go almost on faith, just knowing it's going to work out. See, and a lot of people don't have that. They almost need attaboys along the way, which is fine. But if you're an entrepreneur, like I tell my academy members and people that I do consulting with, you have to have two things. You have to have thick skin and you have to have determination. You have to have thick skin because a lot of people are going to be picking at you and prodding at you and telling you can't do it and making you believe you can't do it. And you have to have the determination to keep going when you have nothing left. Because the breakthrough normally comes right at the end. So it's always toughest in the beginning and it's always toughest right before the blessing. So people normally quit because it's tough. In the beginning it's tough and they quit. And then right before they get that breakthrough, that blessing, it's tough again. And then people quit. But it's the ones that go through, they go, oh, thank you, I made it. But that's why. It is really simple. If you stop and think, and I tell people all the time, like when you go to your job and you have a problem at your job, you go to where? The human resource department. Listen to the name of that department. Human resource. It's saying you're a human, but we're using you as a resource. Right? So when it comes to making money in business, there's two types of people. There's human resources and then there's resourceful humans. And the human resources work for the resourceful humans. You just got to figure out ways to get things done. And you know, one of the things that we teach at Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy, I talk about a little bit in the book, is building a 4-point triangle. And what that is just building a solid team. So you build your team around your dream, because not everyone's going to be the entrepreneur, but you could be a key part of that team and make just as good money. But you want to be doing something. You either want to be an entrepreneur or be one of the entrepreneurs' point people, so you could move that dream in the direction that you know it could become a reality.
Why don't you tell our viewers where they can purchase this book, because I want everyone that's listening and watching us, Launch and Stand Out by Michael Connelly, to purchase this book. So how can they purchase it?
You could purchase the book at www.launchandstandout.com. And the reason I don't have it on Amazon is because instead of giving them a portion of the proceeds, a portion of my proceeds go to my friend. He died in a motorcycle accident. I met him when I was at college, and I'm putting those the profits. Part of it is going into a scholarship fund in his name instead of giving it to Amazon. So www.launchandstandout.com.
That's beautiful, beautiful. Well, again, this is an awesome book. I would recommend this to those that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, those that are in business and just want some new creative ways about how you're launching your business. Because again, I mean, it makes sense. Launch and stand out. You have to be really the best in your area.
Just launch it and make it stand out.
Yeah, that's it. Simple. So it's the Stinky Cake Way, Mr. Michael Connelly. So this is a great, great book, and I do recommend it to those of you that are listening and watching us today to purchase the book. So as we kind of continue with our conversation, it's been a real great treat to have you on the show. We're very excited about the different endeavors that you're getting ready to do, and I know that you're also a speaker.
Yep.
And so you are out and about in Western Massachusetts. I know you've been at some local high schools, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that, you know, giving back to our youth and how passionate you're about that as well.
Yeah, so the reason I love speaking at high schools and colleges, and I love speaking, I love being a keynote speaker as well with businesses, but at high school and colleges, because when I was in high school, I was an okay student. I mean, I could get A's if I try, but I was bored with school a lot. But a lot of the things that stuck with me the most were when we had speakers come in and share their stories.
Right.
Because for me, it was like, I always knew I could do something, but when someone else came in and said, man, yeah, I was exactly where you were, I went through hell, but at the other side of that was heaven. And if I could do it, you could do it. So I was like, man, when I remember being in an audience, hearing these guys speak. I mean, one guy, he spoke about going to college with no money, eating.
Wow.
He was eating dinner rolls and drinking water because he really was that poor. He had one pair of pants, and he said he just went to college. He just did it. And I was like, oh, wow. That made me believe I could go to college more than all the guidance counselors and everyone saying, you're smart enough to go to college. And this guy said to, because at the time, my mother and father got a divorce. So the money I had to go to college was just gone. So even though I was smart enough to do it, I didn't believe I had the resources to do it. But when this guy said he just went anyway and did it, then I was like, man, I could go to school too.
Right.
So that's because of that guy. I can't remember the guy's name, and I wish I could. But because of that guy, I said, you know what? I want to. When I can, I want to go into schools and speak to kids, because most successful people, like I said, most people just really need the attaboy.
Right.
And if I could give the attaboys to the high school kids and the college students so they could believe in themselves, because they're brilliant enough to do. I mean, I look at some of the things these high school kids are doing, and I'm like blown away. I'm like, oh man, you could get paid for that. And then you think so? I'm telling you, you could get paid for that. And I tell them how to, and they go, oh, mister, I could do that. Cause I was talking to one kid about 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
And he wanted to, he said, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to help people, and I wanted to be in health and wellness. So I said to him, why don't you open your own gym? And he goes, oh yeah, I could open my own gym. So I said, how much does it cost to open a gym? He said, I don't know. So we looked it up on Google, and we figured he could realistically do it for about between $45,000 to $60,000. And this kid was 16 years old. So I said, if you think about it, if you go work at McDonald's right now, right, and you have no bills to pay, you take all your money and you put it into your gym fund, right? And then now, by the time you're about 24, 25, after you go to college and learn how to, you know, the physical therapist stuff, whatever it is, to become a personal trainer kind of thing.
Yes.
And you saving that money, guess what? You have enough money to open a gym. Now, when you go to your bank and say, hey, bank, I saved $60,000 to open my gym. Here's my business plan. Now that bank's going to give you even more money. Now watch this. If you go to venture capitalists or people that looking to invest in people, and you say, hey, listen, I started saving my money when I was 16 to open this gym. Then I went to school to learn how to run a gym or business, and I learned how to be a personal trainer. I really want to do this. Now that $60,000 they're looking at, they might give you $500,000 to open that gym because they believe in you. And that's what I was talking about when I said people invest in people, not products or services. Because that's saying, wow, this kid was focused since he was 16. And now, kid lit right up. I was like, you know what? I can do that.
And again, we thank you so much for coming on the Ayanna Crawford Show, Inside Excellence. And we thank all of our viewers for watching us. And we thank Michael for being here again. And we'd like to let you know that this show has been underwritten by the Women in Business Club in Western Massachusetts, also the online present group for Women in Business Club, and Transformational Tuesdays. So we will always make sure that we're giving you something for your business and something for yourselves. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ayanna Crawford Show, Inside Excellence.